Spider-Man's life goes to hell. New York City's had better days. The skies are red, and demonic imps are chasing after a family of 3. The streets are clear enough for them to run, but they're in for an unwelcome surprise. Their stroller has transformed into a monster that wants to eat their baby. Quickly saving their child, the couple began to run from the twisted creation. And before it can catch up with them, they were saved thanks to a quick web line. But this wasn't Spider-Man. Venom is here to save people. The family briefly confuses the symbiote for Spider-Man, which enrages him. To prove that he's nothing like Spidey, Venom picks up the baby and gives it an adorable kiss. All before happily yelling that he's heading off to eat Spidey's brain before swinging away into the city. Spider-Man has a better handle on the situation. A big disaster's hit New York City. This time it's an invasion from the hell realm of Limbo. And as you can tell from the line of possessed trees, it's Christmas. Spidey's on the case and checking in on his newest friend, Norman Osborn. The former Green Goblin is now reformed and calling himself the Gold Goblin. Spider-Man's sure that Norman can do something to help with his demon invasion. But Spider-Man was too late. His clone, Ben Reilly, is one of the people behind this invasion. Now calling himself Chasm, Ben's had a mystical power-up and has already taken down Norman. Peter is more than a little confused. He's never seen this outfit before and doesn't know what Ben's up to here. He's glad to know his one-time friend is alright, but Chasm isn't so happy to see him. And once he tells Peter that he's the one leading this attack on New York, Peter takes a step back, surprised. He knows Ben's life's been bad, but Spidey can't just let New York get overrun by demons. But Chasm has an ace up his sleeve: Venom. The black-clad symbiote lunges right at Spidey, catching him by surprise. Spider-Man is surprised to see Venom working with Chasm. He's used to the big guy being more of a hero. Venom makes it clear he's still himself, but something in his voice stands out to Peter. Something is messing with Venom's head. As Venom began spreading his symbiote goo through the ground to ensnare Spider-Man, Peter's new tech-enhanced suit tried to warn him, but it's a bit too late. Before Spidey can really put distance between himself and Venom, the symbiote wraps him up and pulls him closer to Venom. The symbiote runs his tongue over Peter's neck, ready to eat his brains. But Spidey's not having that, punching Venom right in the jaw. He's not going down that easily. Still, Venom gave Chasm time to set up a magical ritual. Thankfully, there are a bunch of heroes in New York City. Ms. Marvel shows up to try and stop Ben and save the Gold Goblin. Unfortunately, this just gives Chasm a chance to practice his magic. With a brief chant, fire erupts from the ground, dragging Kamala down into an unknown fate. Venom is continuing to keep Spider-Man busy, throwing a haymaker that literally sends Peter through the air. Peter's spider sense doesn't react to Venom, so it's hard for him to keep up with his usual athletic dodging against the big guy. He can try and change things up, but Venom throws a web line to catch Spidey and pull him back before he even hits the ground. He drags Spider-Man right into a devastating elbow strike, grinning at him. He's still down for eating Spidey's brain, and it's getting him excited. Spidey is getting a little flustered at this. Everything is literally going to hell, and he's not winning this fight. But the spider sense wasn't the only ability Peter was willing to bet on, because if all else fails, running is always an option. We cut away to J. Jonah Jameson, who has stayed in his office through this, planning to write the story of this demonic Christmas invasion. He barks at the Bugle staff, ready to put together the news, but Ben snuck into Jameson's office, spellbook ready to go. He's clearly up to something, but what? Back in his fight, Spidey's finally gotten a trick to come out ahead against Venom. A copy of Naruto Volume 11 taken from a newsstand? He burns the paperback manga, which Venom scoffs at. Fire is a weakness of symbiotes, but a tiny flame like this won't do much. Unfortunately for Venom, that wasn't Spidey's plan. Instead, he threatens to burn a bunch of the newly sentient Christmas trees, causing them to scream in fear. As usual, loud noises are one of Venom's weaknesses, and this wail is enough to set Venom up for a knockout punch. But even as the trees clear, Spidey's not out of the woods just yet. Madelyne, Pryor, and Hallows Eve, the other 2 leaders of the attack, have come to check in on what's going on. Maddie vaguely threatens Peter, but her real target is Venom. She's got a plan in mind for him, one that'll involve some demonic interference. Peter isn't going to just let this lady take the unhinged symbiote away with her, but Madelyne stalled for long enough. Chasm is done with his prep work and ready to fight Spider-Man himself. Ben is furious with Peter. He's convinced Spidey willingly chose to withhold his memories from him and tried to kill him, kicking him into a vat of psychoreactive goo and sending him to hell. Becoming Chasm has not helped Ben's mental health. He fought Peter, sure, but Spidey never wanted him dead. Peter tries to point out that Ben admitted his memory isn't good right now, but Ben is too angry to listen. As Chasm, he's got magical web shooters and strength enough to match Peter. But Pete has smarts. He gets a quick punch in on Ben to buy him some time before jumping into the air. With the elevation, he grabs a newly sentient scooter and pulls it in with his web ride, hitting Chasm right in the back. It knocks Ben and the poor scooter into the ground, but Chasm's got tricks of his own. Peter tries to use the distraction of getting up to ambush Ben with a lamppost, but Chasm's spider sense attacks people who try to sneak up on him now, harming Spider-Man and making him drop his weapon. Using his magical webs to create an axe, Chasm is ready to go to town on Peter. Spidey ducks under his swing before catching the weapon, but it just takes a thought for Ben to create a jagged blade with his free hand. Meanwhile, Eve, Maddie Pryor, and Venom are attacking the X-Men's tree embassy. There's a soul hidden under it that she wants back. That's what they've got Venom here for. Eddie doesn't really get what's going on, but Madelyne isn't worried about that. Eve is happy to use one of her magical masks to gain Frankenstein-like super strength, kicking Venom off the rooftop and where they need him to be. Back with Spider-Man and Chasm, Ben tries to show Peter a golden artifact, but Spidey's not having it, just decking his counterpart right in the face and causing him to drop the orb. Peter is getting frustrated with his clone, but Ben insists he can't beat him. Spidey asks what he means. Ben argues that Spider-Man has become weak from holding back for so long. Meanwhile, he had all the power and none of the responsibility. Spidey doesn't want to hurt his clone, but Ben doesn't feel the same way. That's what gives him the edge. He goes for a rapid series of punches, finally breaking his way through Peter's super strong guard. He gets a vicious hit in on Spidey's jaw before pummeling the wall crawler back. Spider-Man's not down for good, but he'll need a second to recover from that beatdown. It gives Ben time to retrieve the orb. Activating it with an incantation and twirl of his finger, he throws the artifact down right in front of Peter, the orb shifting into a golden screen. Inside, there's Robbie Robertson and J. Jonah Jameson, both screaming in pain. Spidey wants to know what's going on. Ben explains that they're in Limbo. Spidey wants him to bring them back, but Ben points out that he can't do that. He's not in Limbo. Peter can't want to literally go to hell to save his friends, right? But Peter flat out tells Chasm to take him to Limbo. That's enough to trigger tentacles to emerge from the sidewalk, dragging Peter down to this hellish otherworld. Ben promises to join him soon, but wants to take some time enjoying demonic New York first. It's been a big day for him. Peter slowly wakes up. His Spider-Man outfit is gone. He's in a sweater vest. He's confused, looking around until he realizes what's going on. His version of hell is a demonic version of the Daily Bugle, where he's already being yelled at to get to work. Truly, what could be worse for Peter Parker? Demon Spider-Man. It's a whole new day in Limbo. Office workers are buzzing around their version of the Bugle. A shark demon and leathery demon with bug eyes are walking towards the front door. Leatherface is enjoying their new job of pretending to be humans, getting into it with some fake remarks about expense reports. Shark Guy, though, is not nearly as entertained. He snarls at the little guy, threatening to bite his head off. But before he can, he's interrupted. Peter Parker is here, and he's no fan of his coworkers biting each other's faces off. Shark Demon's had enough of wearing human clothes. His shirt popping open, the massive hellspawn charges at Peter. But whatever reality this might be, Peter is still Spider-Man. One solid punch is enough to knock out most of the shark's teeth. Defeated, the big guy runs away into the depths of Limbo, leaving Pete with the leather-faced demon he just saved. The little guy yells out after his savior. Isn't he the one they call Parker Peteman? That's close enough for Spidey, and the demon's insect-like eyes go wide with joy. He's been saved by Parker Peteman. Yeah, remember this guy. He will be important soon. Up in the Bugle, J. Jonah is having a hard time dealing with his new demonic staff. They've seen the Spider-Man movies, and they want him to be mad and yell at them. The demons are very disappointed that J. Jonah is too scared to really get into his role.
You not taking the job serious, J. Johnny John Man?
Thankfully, Peter is here to help his boss, picking up one of the demons and threatening to rip him in two if he hurts Jonah. The demons are still hostile to Parker Peteman, reminding him of what's going to happen if Pete and his friends don't do their work. While he can't defend himself, with Jonah and Robbie at risk, Peter puts the green guy back down, willing to play along for now. The demons are excited for this next part. They get to watch Jonah say the thing about wanting pictures of Spider-Man. He's kinda nervous, but with two demons urging him on, Jameson goes for it.
I want tasty pictures of Spider-Man, Parker. Do you hear me?
The whole office celebrates after finally getting Jonah to say his trademark line. Peter isn't happy at having to go through a demonic parody of his life with all of his friends held as hostages. But when Ben shows up, still in his chasm suit, and offers a way out, Peter's still far too smart to take the deal. The apple Ben offers him is obviously some kind of magical trap, and Spidey's not gonna fall for the same trick twice. He knows what Ben wants from him, and he's not going to play along. And yeah, he's right. These apples suck out the soul of a person who eats one. That's how Ben's hoping to get his memories back from Peter. He can eat the soul and regain his memories. Chasm points out he could always force it down Peter's mouth. But Peter thought of that. If Chasm could just force feed him, he'd have done that already. Peter has to eat the apple willingly for the magic to work. Ben is relying on Limbo breaking Peter down, making him desperate to leave. But that is a bad plan. Peter won't just wait for permission to escape. Still, Ben's got other ideas for persuading him. He's gotten a bunch of Limbo's demons together for some fun body alteration. The first one, after getting stung by a scorpion, grows to enormous size, developing a thick carapace and a heavy tail. Limbo's ruler, Madelyne Pryor, isn't amused by this. She's helping Ben try to get his memories back from Peter, but the demons are supposed to be hers. Ben using them like this bothers her. Still, they're allies for now, and Ben is happy to reveal his big move to her. The Insidious Six, demon versions of classic Spider-Man enemies. We've got Dr. Octoball, who is basically a beholder from D&D. There's Grave Goblin, who looks like he could be a lich. A Triceratops, a half rhino, half Triceratops bone monster. Kraken the Hunter, tentacles and all, along with the newly made scorpion creature, Gorpion. And finally, Lizarro. But what are a bunch of villains without a hero? Unexpectedly, a pale fist hits one of Kraken the Hunter's tentacles. It's the pasty demon Peter saved earlier. He heard about this whole turn demons into Spidey characters thing, and he wants in. But he must not have understood what Chasm was trying to do here, because he wants to be made into the hero, or as he calls it, Parker Man. The sight of this causes Maddie to leave Ben to sort out this mess. She's the ruler of Limbo, she's got better stuff to do than deal with comic relief demons. Ben, annoyed, yells at the well-meaning Parker Man. You have it backwards, we need villains, not heroes! Thankfully, Parker Man is a slippery little guy and manages to get away from the Insidious Six, even while Chasm keeps yelling at him in frustration. His human guests are not having a great time either. J. Jonah is being pestered by his sentient cleaning supplies, and his bed is giving him bedroom eyes. Thankfully, help has arrived. Peter has crawled up to a spot just outside his window and is here to talk with Jonah. He's got a plan to get out of Limbo, and he doesn't need the apple. Maddie and Ben were invading New York. They have to be sending the demons through somehow. If Peter and his friends can work out how, they can hitch a ride back home. Meanwhile, the unfortunate Parker Man is wandering down a dingy, hellish street. Now, Parker Man is surprisingly tough. He's upset but insists that he's still a hero. Even when his much larger brother shows up to taunt him, he doesn't change. The big guy snarks that surely Parker Man must wish he'd gone into the family business of magic. Parker Man stays defiant of his brother. He's got his own business now, being a hero like Parker. That encounter really has affected the little demon. He's just sad that Limbo isn't ready for him, so he doesn't get any of those fancy powers Chasm was handing out. Surprisingly though, his brother offers some help. It's dangerous help, but hey, Parker Man isn't in a position to be choosy. This brother ran into Venom recently, and in return for the demon making him 8 feet tall, Eddie left the guy with some symbiote goo to play around with. The alchemist is going to use the goo plus Parker Man's spider costume for an enchantment that'll transform him into a spider-ish man, just like Chasm's crew used on the Insidious Six. But instead of putting the costume on, the costume put him on. Back at the Bugle, Jameson is rallying his demon workforce. He's got a lead on a story, and he's selling it with all the anger these fan demons expect of him. They are all hyped up for whatever assignment he's gonna give them today. Jameson straightens his tie as he explains. Apparently, some demons have been allowed to go to the real New York City. Instead of dressing up and mucking around in Limbo, they've gotten to go and torment a whole city's worth of humans who do nothing but scream, cry, and bleed. The Bugle demons are struggling not to look tempted. They want to join in with this attack, and Jonah is here to give them an excuse. He wants a few brave reporters to go and investigate these invasions of New York, but not join in or cross to the other side or anything. That wouldn't be fun, right, Bugle demons? The demon reporters rampage out of the office, eager for this chance to escape their fake job and go to New York City. Jonah and Robbie share a sigh of relief now that the coast is clear. No one's watching them now, they just have to chase those demons, find the portal, and sneak through. And they've got backup, thanks to Pete, who has finally managed to sew a new Spider-Man costume together. The three start sneaking through the alleyways of Limbo, following the demon reporters. But they're interrupted. The Insidious Six are here. Getting out of hell isn't going to be that easy. Spidey yells at Jonah and Robbie to run, even as Gorpion Scale slams down right in front of them. Grave Goblin follows that up by ramming the webhead in the back of the head with his coffin glider. Octoball goes for the opening, blasting him with lightning and keeping him reeling so Triceratops can shoulder tackle Spidey. For a bunch of demons, their teamwork is pretty good. Spider-Man's on the ground, not down for good, but shaken badly by the onslaught. Kraken the Hunter goes for a finishing blow, hefting a gigantic anchor over his head, ready to bring it down on the fallen Spider-Man. But before he can, a great red hand snatches the Kraken's weapon away. Even in hell, Spidey has friends.
They said they didn't need another Parker, that I had it backwards. So say hello to Rek-Rap!
King Chasm. Chasm's hanging out by the soul-stealing tree with his girlfriend, Hallows Eve, when Madelyne Pryor shows back up. Madelyne agreed to help Chasm with his plan because, like him, she's a clone of someone too, Jean Grey of the X-Men. She wanted to take Jean's memories just like Ben wanted to take Peter's. But Jean willingly gave those memories to Madelyne, so now she wants to stop the invasion, even though Ben's just as messed up and broken as he was when this all started. Chasm does not take this betrayal well. Maddie got what she wanted, so now Chasm, her partner, doesn't matter? Madelyne points out that she's the queen of Limbo. She was the one who made this invasion possible, but that doesn't really change Ben's point. He swings off, trying to find space to clear his head. Madelyne looks to Eve, hoping that at least she can understand why they have to stop this invasion. Eve was sure that they could take care of themselves, like they always do. Meanwhile, Rek-Rap and Spidey are getting acquainted. Spider-Man's surprised by this hulking demon who wants to be like him. And the Insidious Six are just as shocked. They're outraged, even! Demons are supposed to be killing Spider-Man, not dressing up like him. Grave Goblin starts chanting, "Kill the spider! Kill the spider!" Rek-Rap is not worried, though. It's his chance to be a proper Spider-Man. Fighting spider villains alongside the original. He's ready to start this off with some good old-fashioned, web wanging? Peter is confused by that, but Rek-Rap is happy to demonstrate, making finger guns as he shoots off a bunch of web blasts right at the Insidious Six. The villains are appalled. At Spidey's prompting, Rek-Rap switches his approach up. He's gonna show off his wall crawling, which in his case is beating up the Insidious Six. They're the wall, and he's gonna make them crawl. On a roll here, Rek-Rap follows up with a Spidey Spranger. This is one of Peter's less well-known gadgets. Back in the day, he carried a sort of portable bat signal, a way to show he's present without actually coming out in person. Rek-Rap's version just hits criminals with light from his belts, and it packs quite a punch too, knocking Gorpion back with one good sprang. Deeply embarrassed by all this, Spider-Man would beg to take over from here. Over in her castle, Madelyne Pryor is with Eve, giving the orders to her troops to stop the invasion. Madelyne shares a few encouraging words with the young villain, but Eve isn't just here to talk. She uses one of her magical masks, the Frankenstein one, to give herself temporary super strength. Before Madelyne can react, Eve throws her former ally off of Limbo Castle. She then picked up the discarded Soul Scythe. Eve claimed the power that made Madelyne Pryor Queen of Limbo while being free of the responsibility. Back near the portal, Spidey and Rek-Rap were trying to clear a path through the Insidious Six. Rek-Rap was really getting into it, going crazy with the sound effects.
Pew! Bam! Slam! Shot!
Spider-Man respected the guy's spirit, but suggests that he just sticks to one of them. The two mopped up the Insidious Six quickly, swinging over them and joining Jonah and Robbie, running towards the gate back to New York. A large chicken demon tries to stop Jonah, but he yells at the Hellspawn that he's actually a demon goblin, and that if Chicken Boy doesn't move, he'll bite the guy's head off. This is enough to scare the demon into running away. Jonah is delighted that that worked, while Robbie isn't convinced that he should be happy about being as vicious as an angry demon. And while Spider-Man and Rek-Rap ran as fast as they could, Chasm was back at the tree. He was thinking he'd take one last shot at convincing Peter to eat the fruit, but it's too late. The tree rotted away as soon as Maddie called off the invasion. Ben's convinced it's all hopeless now, but Eve's got a gift for him. The Soul Scythe. With that, Ben will be King of Limbo. He'll be able to keep the war going. Take whatever he wants from humanity, from Peter, from everyone. Clutching the scythe, Chasm begins to transform. He grows to gigantic size, leathery bat wings sprouting from his back. Limbo would now be ruled by the one with greater pain, King Chasm. Spider-Man and his friends finally made it to the portal back home, but the Insidious Six managed to catch up with them, insisting on evilly declaring their names yet again. But to interrupt them would be a real villain, King Chasm, who declared New York to be damned the moment Spider-Man refused to give up his soul. Prepared to face his royal pain of a clone, Spider-Man swung into action. But King Chasm easily backhanded the webhead like it was nothing. Enraged by the sight of his so-called sidekick's defeat, Rek-Rap prepared a fist of his own. But King Chasm quickly grabbed him by the neck and slammed him down, cracking the ground beneath them. Now leading the invasion, King Chasm teleported Limbo Castle to Central Park, cracking the ground as he made it rise above the New York skyline. Now back on Earth, Spidey, Jonah, Robbie, and Rek-Rap are left to join up with the X-Men and Madelyne Pryor to try and take back both Limbo and New York from Ben's forces. For even more stranger versions of the friendly neighborhood hero, check out our video on the top 10 weirdest Spider-Man variants.